What we're going to talk about today, well, I'm going to talk about why so many people are getting sick, especially younger generations. And specifically, we talk about something called forever chemicals as well. It's big in the news right now. If you're new to the show, what I do is I talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, types in any health questions you might have. At the 24-minute break, I will then answer those questions for you. Then we're going to do another 24 minutes, and then we're going to do another question and answer session. So it's a great opportunity for you guys to get some questions answered. So happy to help you out in any way I possibly can. Please do me a favor. If you're listening live, put in hashtag live. If you're listening on a replay, put in hashtag replay, just so I know who's listening. And then also where you're from. I like to know where my folks are listening from as well. And I do appreciate that. And this is a great opportunity to share this now. Share this with your whole your contact list because this is information that changes your life. If you've listened to the show before, you know that. If you're new to the show, you're going to find that out in the next few minutes. So I'm just waiting for Garrett to finish up and get ready for me. And he's going to give me the high sign, and we'll go ahead and get started. Garrett says yes. Okay, so here we go. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am glad you're with me today. We're going to talk today about something called forever chemicals, and also why is the younger generation so sick? I mean, there's some scary stuff going on, and I see it in practice. I see it with people I know personally. Younger generation is experiencing much more higher levels of cancer and chronic diseases, and I think we know why. And we're going to talk about this because it's not just for the younger generation, it's for the old folks as well. Lifestyle factors, of course. A lot of young people today are exposed to a lot of unhealthy habits like poor diet, lack of exercise, smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, diabetes, heart disease, vaping. They sit in dark rooms and play video games for days on end, not just hours on end, days on end. Fast food is just crazy out of control. Food is being delivered to the young generation and sometimes the older generation, so they don't have to leave their room, their dark little room, for watching movies or TV or playing games. So it's a very different world that we're dealing with. There's environmental factors. Our environment plays a huge role in our health. Young people today are exposed to more pollutants, toxins, and chemicals. It's in the water, it's in the food supply, more than any of us have ever been exposed to. You're getting exposed to thousands of chemicals every day. Every day. And it comes from so many different sources, the air, the water. I've talked about water filters, whole house water filters for years. And then the past couple of weeks, you see these articles coming out on plastics being found in water bottles. Well, I talked about this 15 years ago, and finally it made the mainstream. So it's really important that you consider that. I don't like to drink out of plastic bottles. I like my metal, stainless steel containers. Even if it's water, I'll just put water in something that's stainless steel or glass. I really want you to stay away from plastic. We'll talk about that in a second. But these environmental factors contribute to the development of cancer and other chronic diseases. Anxiety, depression, bipolar, fatigue, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm seeing it every day, and it's on almost all kids across the board. When I first got in practice, I didn't see a lot of teenagers and preteens as patients. Now we see them all day, every day. They've got headaches, they've got back pain, they've got digestive issues, they've got constipation, they've got nutritional deficiencies. We see it all day, every day. And I know the trend. Been in practice almost 40 years, and I'm seeing it a lot more with adult patients as well. For example, when I first got in practice, I could say I never saw a kidney patient, somebody with kidney failure. I could say never. For years, decades. Now we're seeing 2 and 3 a week. What's going on? Something's different, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Stress. Younger people have a lot more stress than older generations, like work, school, relationships, financial pressures. I heard some of my younger staff members talking the other day, something about kids, and they said, I could never afford to have a kid. That was not a thought in my generation. Can I afford to have a kid? Do I want to have a kid? But could I afford to have a kid? That was an interesting twist when I heard that. And that's kind of these things that are spurring on this show today. A lot more screen time, phones, computers. We have a sedentary lifestyle. Lack of physical activity raises the risk of obesity and related health problems. Dietary changes. Young people consume diets that are high in processed foods, sugars, unhealthy fats, fast foods. We're using linoleic acids, omega-6 fatty acids, seed oils, they're called. Polyunsaturated fats. They have a lot of different names. And these oils are so dangerous for you. Very seldom do I see the younger generation eating a salad, eating fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. I hardly ever see that. I have staff, I have patients, I'm out in the public, I see what's going on. And it's scary. And I don't want to, be an alarmist, but yeah, this is alarming stuff. So a combination of these factors plus genetic predispositions, because the parents, my generation and our generations, were exposed to chemicals that may have done DNA damage to us. And now we're passing it on to the kids as well. So it's important for individuals to be aware of these factors and make lifestyle choices that are going to prevent it. So the good news is that there's good news. This doesn't have to be an ongoing process. This can be something that you can simply stop. And the nice part is you have control over that. I want to talk about something called forever chemicals. Now, I've talked about these for years. Now they have a name for them. Now, these are chemicals that we either ingest or inhale. They're synthetic chemicals, and they're either per- or polyfluoroalkyl substances. We're going to call them PFAs. So as we continue talking, it's per- or polyfluoroalkyl substances. When I say PFAs, just know I'm referring to this one type of what's called forever chemicals. They're in cookware, they're in packaging, they're in furniture, clothes, carpets. They are impossible to avoid. I don't care how healthy you are, chances are you're exposed to these multiple times a day. Studies show that nearly everyone has been exposed to them. 97% of Americans have them in their blood. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control. A new report published in the Journal of Exposure Science and Environmental Epidemiology. It's a whole new world, a whole new branch of healthcare, sick care, on exposure to environmental toxins. They found that people with cancer had significantly higher levels of forever chemicals in their bodies. Now, could these chemicals be responsible for chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease and cancer? This is a question we're desperate to answer. I guess, my opinion, I should say, is a resounding yes. Because these chemicals have come about just as the rise of chronic illnesses come about. And we see the link to it as well. Forever chemicals break down very slowly. They can stay in your body for months or even years. What makes them different and important is that they're toxic, they're entirely man-made, and they can remain in the environment for a long time once they're put there. So how harmful are they to your health? They've been linked. Cancer, reduced fertility, high blood pressure, changes in the immune system, reduced ability to fight diseases, or even respond to a vaccine. So if somebody has a vaccine reaction, it could be because of these forever chemicals affecting how your immune system works. We also found associations with high cholesterol, lower antibody resistance, thyroid problems, ulcerative colitis, and a small decrease in fetal and infant growth rates as well. Kids are not as big as they used to be. Now, once they get older, babies, once they get older, a lot of these chemicals are hormone disruptive, and they act like estrogen, and estrogen is a growth hormone. So we're seeing people get bigger over time, but we're also seeing things like lower sperm count, dramatically lower sperm count. In fact, it appears that every generation has about 50% less sperm count than the generation before. So I have 50% less than my father. My father had 50% less than his father. And if I had a son, his sperm count would be lower than mine, generally speaking. That's scary. I predict, so far I've never been wrong in my predictions, that in the upcoming years, you're going to see this whole cottage industry come up on infertility. Now, it's already there. It's going to blow up because men and women are going to have a real tough time getting pregnant. I mean, I know men can't get pregnant. I get that. But, I mean, becoming players in the pregnancy. And this is a serious issue because how do we make more babies? Now, we can do it in test tubes and things like this, but lower sperm count is a symptom. It's telling you something's wrong. Now, scientists are still learning about how these PFAs harm your health. Growing evidence suggests forever chemicals disrupt the endocrine system. They act like estrogen. It's an endocrine disruptor. And they act like estrogen. They can affect your testosterone. They can affect your thyroid hormones. Hormone dysfunction can be the key to things like cancer and a bunch of other diseases. So the sad part is about what I'm telling you today, but there's good news coming up, don't worry. The sad part is that we did this to ourselves. We're exposing ourselves to these chemicals. So where might you find these chemicals? We'll talk about in a second. But another process that occurs is these PFAs, these polyfluoroalkyl chemicals, mimic something called fatty acids in our body. Now, our body uses fatty acids for energy. So they can derail your body's ability to process fats because they look like it and they kind of get into the system and then don't work. Some public health experts suspect that PFAs may be neurotoxic, meaning affecting the brain and the spinal cord, and they can contribute to neurological diseases like Parkinson's. Now, the mechanisms are still unclear, but the association is undeniable. It's a problem. So where do we get them from? They're everywhere. They coat paper and cardboard in food packaging. Years ago, I used to work for a pizza company. I used to work for a donut company. I used to do a lot of, as a kid, I worked since I was 11 years old. But one of the problems we had when I worked for the pizza company, I was a delivery boy, is if the pizza touched the box, it would stick. And the cheese would stick to the top of the box, and of course, customers would complain. So what's happened now is we coat those boxes with a non-stick chemical, a PFA. And so if something touches it, it's less likely to stick. Same thing with wrapping for sandwiches. If you remember years ago, if something fell out of your sandwich, it stuck to the paper. Now it slides right off because those wrappers have these PFAs in them, and they're non-stick. So you're getting exposed to it everywhere. Cans. I don't know if you're old enough to remember, you'd open up a can, you have to scrape the can out to get everything out. Now you turn it upside down, and most of the stuff comes out. Why? It's lined with PFAs, or bisphenol A. Non-stick chemicals that are endocrine disruptors. They're in personal care products. Waterproof mascara, lipstick foundation, lotion, shampoo, shaving creams, body wash. I use an all-natural shaving cream. Why? Because when I shave, I'm tearing up the skin on my face, and it opens up the pores, and toxic chemicals can be absorbed. And so I use a natural shaving cream. Won't give you the brand name because I don't want to promote somebody if they don't want me to promote them, but I love them. And that's really important. I remember when my dad was alive, he'd use the typical gels and stuff like that. And one day I came home to visit, and I had my natural shaving cream, and I let him use it, and he just loved it. And after he passed away, I remember going through his stuff, and there was a container of the shaving cream I gave him. And it was kind of a nice, heartwarming feeling. But, yeah, perfumes, hairsprays, makeups, shampoo, deodorant. Deodorants, you're putting it under your skin, and then you're sweating, so your pores are opening up. What I use for deodorant is I take alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and I put in tea tree oil. And I put it's a little essential oil. And I put enough in so it smells like tea tree oil. I can't smell the alcohol anymore. I just smell tea tree oil. And I got a spray bottle, at the dollar store. And I spray that as my deodorant every day. Because the other deodorants many times are highly toxic. And if it's antiperspirant, it has aluminum in it. It's called aluminum chlorhydrate. And aluminum is a highly toxic heavy metal that can get into the brain and affect the brain. And there are studies showing that women with breast cancer usually have been using, or many times I should say, have been using aluminum chlorhydrate. Is there a direct correlation? I haven't seen a direct correlation yet, but I wouldn't take the chance. And the reason I say that is you're putting it right under your armpit, and that's where your breast is. So I wouldn't take that chance, and I don't think you should either. These chemicals leach into our food, now beverages. They're absorbed through the skin and personal care products. So these forever chemicals are really messing with your body. And they're messing with your DNA. And they're messing with the lipoprotein layer that around your cell where the body absorbs nutrients and passes out waste products and where hormones dock onto the cell. Hormones released, it attaches to the cell at a receptor site, it's called. And if we have these forever chemicals, they can block up those receptor sites or activate the receptor site. And the body thinks it has all this estrogen, and it doesn't. So the cell acts as if it has estrogen, which is a growth hormone. Most of us are done growing up, so we're either going to grow out or we're going to grow unnatural cells. These are risks that I don't want you to take. You can do it if you want to, but I don't want you to. So the main route of exposure, though, really is through our diet. High levels of these forever chemicals are often identified in fish and shellfish like shrimp and crabs. Most common, most studied culprit, what do you think it is? Water. Drinking water. A report from the Environmental Working Group, and that's a group that does research on protecting the environment, found that over 200 million Americans likely have PFAS in their drinking water, these forever chemicals. Again, I use a whole house water filter. Every drop of water that comes into my house doesn't get past the main line until it's filtered and processed. Because I don't want to shower in it. I don't want to wash my hair in it. I want to brush my teeth in it. I don't want to cook in it. I want to drink in it. I don't want to bathe in it. I don't want any of these toxic chemicals, or as few as possible, getting into my house. And I'd like for you to have that same thought process. I even water my garden with filtered water. Why? Because the chemicals can get into my food. So it's not cheap to get a whole house water filter. However, it's well worth it, because I don't want to expose myself to these chemicals, and I don't think you should either. If I take a shower, on average, if I shower, average warm shower, I'm going to absorb the same amount of chlorine that will be found in 8 glasses of water, because my pores open up when I take a shower and I can absorb the chlorine. Chlorine is an antibiotic, right? You put it in your bathtub, you put your hot tub, you put it in your pool. Kills what? Bacteria. Guess what it does in your body? Kills bacteria. And we are nothing but bacteria. We have multiple times more bacteria in our bodies than we have human cells. And so we really are just life support for bacteria. That's all we are. And if you're killing off the good bacteria, it can affect, the bad bacteria can start to overgrow. Same thing with yeast. Yeast is not affected by antibiotics, and so it can overgrow if it doesn't have competition from bacteria, and you can get something called systemic yeast infection. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip here. How do you know if you have a systemic yeast infection? Tomorrow morning when you go to bed, or you go to bed tonight, put a glass of clear water next to your bed, or a clear glass of water. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, before you speak, before you brush your teeth, go up and pee, I want you to get a big mouthful of spit. Scrape your tongue with your teeth, get a mouthful of spit, and spit into this glass. Leave it there for up to an hour. If you start to see little tentacles coming down like a jellyfish, chances are you have a systemic yeast infection. Now, we can do further testing here in the office. We can do a micronutrient test, and we can test to see if you have a yeast infection. But if you do, you want to address it. And it's caused by, in most cases, antibiotics killing off the good bacteria but not killing off the yeast. And today's clean environment, we have hand sanitizers, and we have these sprays that we spray on everything to kill viruses, germs, bacteria. If you're not outside a lot, you're not being exposed to things. When I garden, I don't use gloves unless I'm doing branches or something like that. But if I'm digging in the dirt, I don't use gloves because I want that good bacteria to get onto my body. We don't do that anymore. And so we're causing a lot of problems in our health system. And this is one of the many reasons that the younger generation has so much higher risk of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, obesity, depression, anxiety, because we're messing with our diet. And we're messing with our environment too, but mainly the diet. So what we do in our offices, if you're just joining us, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. What we do in our offices, we want to try to get to the cause of your healthcare problems and not just treat the symptoms. So what might be a cause? Well, the nervous system controls everything. So if you have a problem with your nervous system, could be chemical, could be physical. If you have a pinched nerve, for example, pinched nerve might hurt 10% of the time. 90% of your nerves don't feel pain, so you can have a pinched nerve and not know it. So when patients come in our office, we test the nerves that feel pain and we test the nerves that don't feel pain. Because if we take you on as a patient, I don't want to get you out of pain, I want to get you well. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, sciatica, numbness, tingling, had a patient when he walked, his bottom legs hurt, it's called claudications, digestive issues, heartburn, acid reflux, come see us. Stop suffering needlessly. So many of you right now have health issues that are easy to fix if you know how to do it. So when you come see us, we check your nervous system, we check your digestive system, and we check your diet. And we give you advice. What you do with that advice is totally up to you. You want to make an appointment, which you should, go to my website right now, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment right online. You can call us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We want to be your doctors. We want to help get to the cause of the problem. Now, we can't handle everything. So if it's something that's out of our scope of practice, we have a list of doctors that we know, that we trust, that I would go to if I had a problem, and we refer you out. And then we co-manage the case. This is a unique way of looking at health. Had a patient the other day. He's had 2 stents in his heart. Triple bypass in his heart, stents in his legs, circulatory issues. He said, Doc, you taught me more in 5 minutes about nutrition than my cardiologist ever taught me in all the years I've been going to her. Now, it's not their fault. Nutrition is not taught in the medical world. It's just not part of the curriculum. And that's okay. That's my job. I laugh. If they did it, I'd be out of a job. So I want to be your doctor. Nervous system, digestive system, and diet, drjoe.com. Normally, the first visit is $940. For my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and your follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. I'll give you the information. What you do, it is up to you. We're probably going to recommend further treatment. In most cases, we do. It's up to you what you do with that information. But we would love to get the nervous system, digestive system, and diet fixed. So make an appointment right now. We'll get you in this week, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. And we accept most insurances. Depends what your insurance covers. It's not up to us. It's up to your insurance company, drjoe.com. So we're talking today about why is the younger generation so sick and why is the older generation so sick? Why do you see these hospitals being built everywhere? They're popping up like crazy. You see these emergency rooms, right? These urgent cares. You know what the urgent care is? It's a place to get treatment, but it's a referral source for the hospital. I go to urgent care. I'm having heart pain. What do they do? Send me to the hospital. It owns my urgent care. I got back pain. Send me to orthopedic surgeons at the hospital. It owns my urgent care. That's why the urgent cares are owned by the hospitals. It's a referral network. Nothing wrong with that. But understand that we don't have family doctors like we used to. Urgent care is now our family doctor. And the urgent care then says, you know what? You need to go see blank hospital. Next. And they charge you a lot too, by the way. So healthcare costs are out of control. People are getting sicker and sicker. Life expectancy of the younger generation is 5 years less than their parents. Insurance rates are going up. They're paying less. Doctors are making less money. Doctors are getting frustrated because they're not going to be able to treat the patient because the insurance companies are dictating what they can and can't do. I can't tell you how many doctors send us patients because the insurance company said, you know what? This patient, Bob, is too sick to have surgery, too sick to get treated. We're not going to pay for treatment. Too sick to have a treatment. And it happens all the time. They're high risk. So the doctors send them to us, and we reduce the risk by changing their diet, getting their nervous system, digestive system working. Many times they don't need the procedure. But if they do, at least they're healthy enough to go into it and come out of it healthy. So stop suffering. Just go to my website, drjoe.com, make an appointment to come see us. So we're talking today about why the younger generation is so sick. Now we're talking about what's called forever chemicals, these PFAs. Certain PFAs can no longer be manufactured in the United States, but there are more than 15,000 different types of PFAs still around today, and there's very little research on them because they're not being manufactured anymore. But they're called forever chemicals. They're around for a long time. So you're getting exposed to them, I promise. When you go pay with your credit card, you get a receipt, PFAs, okay, forever chemicals. That's called bisphenol A. Do you, like I said, fast food, containers, canned foods. We're using them everywhere because it's nonstick. How about your pots and pans? Nonstick coating on your pots and pans. I use cast iron. I have an American cast iron pot. I season it. I put oil in it, and I put it in the oven at about 350 for about an hour, and now it becomes nonstick. You don't wash your cast iron. I have a brush, and I scrape it out, and it stays nonstick. If it loses its nonstick, I have to what's called season it again. So you're getting it in so many different places. How do you avoid it? It's not possible to dodge them forever. First, look for products that claim PFA-free. Okay, remember PFAs, polyfluoroalkyls, those are the forever chemicals we're talking about right now. It's worth avoiding nonstick cookware, especially if it's scratched or flaking. Remember years ago I started dating a gal, and I was at her house, and all the pots and pans were scratched. Now, I don't tell people how to live their lives unless it's my lecture, but I suggested it would be a good idea to get rid of them. And she did. Made me happy. So, nonstick, absolutely okay. If it says, if you see the word fluoro or perfluoro, not a good idea. Vacuum regularly. It helps remove the PFAs from your carpets. If you have fire-resistant clothes, fire-resistant, stain-resistant sprays that you put on your furniture, these are all PFAs. These are forever chemicals. When you choose a cosmetic, make sure it's all natural. It's organic. You'll be able to read all the ingredients in it because you're putting it on your body. It's being absorbed directly into your skin, into your brain, into your eyes, shampoo, hairsprays. Why would you put a toxic chemical right on your scalp that can be absorbed into your brain? It's a rhetorical question. I hope you don't do it anymore. When it comes to food, you want to use fresh, unpackaged items as much as possible. Try to stay away from the packaged processed foods. If you can't pronounce an ingredient, don't eat it. Hey, folks, got to go to break. I just realized I'm running late. If you have any questions, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can send me questions. You can book an appointment. You can search the website. We have over 4,000 hours of content there. Follow me on social media, at Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day. We post health tips for you. If you're a veteran and the VA refers you to us, the VA will pay for your treatment. I'm on the VA referral list. And if you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service, type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Again, the website, drjoe.com. Don't go anywhere. Tell your friends about the show. We're going to be right back. All right. Got so much more to cover. My God. Any questions?
I just want to point out the ludicrousy of packaging 4 small tomatoes in plastic on top of cardboard.
That's crazy, isn't it? I know. Yeah. Why?
Yeah. Question about your opinion on Mag-O7. It is an ozonated magnesium supplement for colon.
I'm not familiar with it, so I can't give you an opinion on it. So I don't know. So,
do you have any thoughts on ozonated supplements?
Magnesium supplements are great, but there's multiple different types of magnesium supplements. There's citrate, there's lactate, there's multiple different types. Citrate, for example, will act as a bowel, make your bowels move better. So I don't know what's in this. I don't know how they ozonate it. I don't know anything about the manufacturers. So at this point, I really can't give you an opinion. People ask me that too. What about this product? I don't know how it's manufactured. I know how Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source are manufactured and all our products. So that's why I can put my brand of approval on it. So, what else?
This is a question for me. I, for a long time, was dealing with pit stains from using natural deodorants.
Yes.
Because I actually sweat when I don't use aluminum. And all of the products out there that I found to prevent were PFAs.
Yeah, exactly.
Spray it into the pit and into the pit of the shirt, and
then it's non-stick.
Yeah.
So it doesn't create stains. You might try the alcohol with the tea tree oil. That's what I use, and it works great. I mean, unless I'm really out there working in the yard, sweating like a little piglet, it's never been a problem for me, ever. So, and just spray it on. It's nice and cooling in the summer. A little chilly in the winter, though. I'm not going to lie to you. What else you got?
I have a viewer with fibromyalgia that is looking for any advice.
Oh, yeah. We see so many fibromyalgia cases, and we're seeing a lot more lately. Fibromyalgia is a syndrome, so there really isn't a blood test that we can do for fibromyalgia. But basically what it is, it says if you have pain like here, 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 and here, like 4 or 5 different spots, it's called fibromyalgia. And unfortunately, medicine doesn't have a whole lot to offer in this world. I don't have a whole lot to offer to do an eye exam, but I do have a lot to offer when it comes to fibromyalgia. We want to open up the nerve supply from the spine to the areas. That's number one, and many times that solves the problem. Number 2, we got to get you on an anti-inflammatory protocol diet. Supplements like Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, nitric oxide will open up the circulation into the areas. We have a machine called an acoustic wave therapy machine, which sends really, really fast impulses into the area. It can break up scar tissue. We have cold laser that can increase the vitality of the mitochondria in the cells. So, yeah, we have a plethora of treatments for fibromyalgia, and almost every patient that's ever come to us just wants to name their kids after us. Thank you. I've suffered all these years, and nobody ever gave me an answer. So you need to come see us for that one. So, and again, you can make an appointment at drjoe.com, and we'll get you in as soon as possible. Stop suffering.
Do you have an updated adrenal program or an adrenal kind of rebuild?
Oh, yeah. The adrenals can burn out. And what we do is we do something called the Dutch test. And the Dutch test tests your hormones, but also tests your adrenal function. Most people have adrenaline that's, the cortisol is a hormone produced by adrenal glands, out of control, very high. That's where I was when I first tested. If the adrenal glands kind of poop out, they become hypo. You have low cortisol. And then we have to build up the adrenals. So we have a Dr. Joe's adrenal support formula. I'm not sure. Yeah, and it's spectacular. I take it every single day. But we also have to get you off the foods that can blow up or irritate the adrenal glands. And they are the big 7: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Especially if your adrenal glands are hypercortisol, high cortisol, we got to get you off the stimulants, the coffee, the tea, the chocolates, the caffeines. Those stimulants are just really just pumping out all this cortisol. Then if you're in pain, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, heartburn, acid reflux, burping, gas, bloating, headaches, this can also raise your cortisol and stress out the adrenals. So we want to get the body as calm as possible, physically as well as chemically. And then we get the adrenal glands to kind of come back online to reboot themselves. So you can make an appointment to come see us, drjoe.com, and we'll get that set up for you.
I know I suffer from slight adrenal fatigue, but I also try to maintain a high glucose level for the brain, usually through like lemonade or something like that. What's a better way?
Complex carbs are better. Complex carbs would be fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, beans, legumes, lentils, split peas, because they have fiber in them. And fiber is going to give you a slow release of sugar. So it's going to kind of push the sugar through your colon, give you a slow release. It's going to block up your receptor sites. You're going to absorb less sugar, but then you have a steady flow of energy throughout the body. Now, if you're craving carbs and you're eating a lot of sugar, we're coming out with a supplement that's going to be out pretty soon, and it's going to help stabilize your blood sugar. It's going to have berberine in it. It's going to have other supplements that'll help stabilize blood sugar, and that works really well too. The key to the brain is steady flow. And even people like Dr. Joe Mercola, very well known in the health field, he was all over the high protein diet, low carbs, high protein, carnivore diets, and he's did a lot of research, did some long-term research, and he's come out. And this is a tough thing for him to do because he pushed this for years and said, I was wrong. You need to have a steady flow of carbohydrates in your diet. Complex carbohydrates, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, not breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas. So that's where that would help the brain and keep the energy level is having a high fiber diet.
I found that helps a lot with ADD.
Oh, with ADD, absolutely, because your brain, it's using up so much glucose and energy, you got to stabilize that. And that's why a steady flow throughout the day is good.
The tip that I started with was a liquid, sugary drink, typically like a homemade lemonade, just a real simple recipe. And it's worked great, but now I'm running into tacking on more cortisol, tacking on the adrenals, and I'm now on this balancing act of, well, I need the sugar for the brain to work best. But when I overdo it, I end up releasing too much cortisol, and then I end up slowing down the whole process on the back end and crashing.
Yeah. So quinoa would be good for you. Nuts, almonds, walnuts, pecans, pistachios, not peanuts. Peanuts are not nuts, by the way, but they have a fungus in them, and that can cause all sorts of problems too. But nuts, seeds, let's say quinoa would be great. Wouldn't do rice, probably too quick a starch blast. But yeah, more fruits and veggies.
Now, what are your thoughts on the benefits of an organic fenugreek water for daily consumption?
I'm okay with that. Fenugreek's great. Fenugreek can do a lot of things. Help testosterone and help you produce breast milk if you're breastfeeding. Helps with digestion. So I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's a question.
Okay.
Why is the human body so complex?
Isn't it? Years ago I was an actor, and back in college anyway, and we did a play called The Gospel According to Mark Twain. And it was Mark Twain quotes, and we acted it all out. It was a lot of fun. And one of the lines from the play it always stuck with me. He goes, "Man, I wonder who invented him." Because it really is a complex mess, and we really are so fragile. We're just a sack of flesh. We're so weak and so fragile, and we get hit in the head and we could die. So I don't know. When I die, I got a lot of questions for God. I got to talk about why the knees bend the way they do. I'm not happy with that.
I was just gonna say that.
I don't like the knees. Years ago, Garrett is now his wife. We were doing a show, and I talked about that, and she just laughed. She thought that was the funniest thing. Like, what would knees look like if they bent the opposite way? But I don't like knees or shoulders. Bad joints. So, what else?
Are you good with nut powders like almond powders?
Yes, I'm okay with them. Not peanut powder, though. Yeah, but I'm okay with them, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's kick off section 2.
All right. Scratch my nose here. Let's see where we are. Drinking water. Okay, persistent ubiquity. All right, good. All right, ready for part 2? Here we go.
I kind of have to know what you mean by changing the shoulder joint.
I don't like it. It's not shallow. It should be deeper. Like the hip joint's a deep joint, so it has protection. The shoulder joint pops out of joint so easily. Now I don't want to put it on backwards, but I think it should be a deeper socket. When I redesign humans, I'm gonna put that in there too. Got some other stuff too. All right, ready? Here we go. Hey folks, Dr. Joe Esposito. If you're just joining us, welcome. If you stayed with us, I really appreciate that. Thank you. We're talking today about, or answering the question, why are young people so sick? we're seeing skyrocketing increase in diseases and anxiety and depression and bipolar and obesity, shorter life expectancies, trouble making babies. All these issues can't be ignored. They're real. It's not like it's questionable. Well, it's not really an issue. No, it is an issue. And it really is. And we covered earlier about what was called forever chemicals. Forever chemicals are chemicals that break down very slowly in the environment and certainly in your body. And we were kind of talking about water. And a lot of state and local health departments show the status of their PFA levels. PFAs are polyfluoroalkyls. That's a broad group of what's called forever chemicals. And if the levels are high in your town's drinking water, and you can call your town and see if they have a PFA level. And if they are high in the water, if they're not, even if they're not high, I strongly advise you get a whole house water filter, or at least, and they're expensive, they're a couple $1,000s, or at least a pitcher that you keep on your counter and filter it through that. You want to have it, it's called NSF or ANSI certified filters. And you want to make sure every drop of water you drink with, cook with, is filtered. I prefer the whole house. It's expensive, but this way everything is filtered. My bath water, my toilet water is not releasing chlorine into the air. I'm washing my vegetables, my clothes, all this. In fact, many people have come to my house and had, drank water and said, your water tastes funny. And I said, think about it for a second. I said, it doesn't taste like anything, does it? And they go, you're right. It has no flavor. And if I go to a restaurant and get a glass of water or something like that, I can just taste the chlorine and the chemicals and whatever else they put in there. So you really get spoiled when you start drinking pure water. I don't recommend bottled water as a substitute because the plastic bottles can release these chemicals into the water. And the thing you're trying to avoid by drinking a bottled water is now replacing it with the plastic. So not a good idea. Whole house water filter is what I have. It's really not a bad idea. If you want to know what brand I use, just send me an email through the website, drjoe.com. I'll send you a link to the people that I use. Now, it's not easy to avoid these forever chemicals. They're persistent. They're ubiquitous. Ubiquitous means they're all over the place in nature. I'm sending you a clear message, though. It's not something you want to avoid if your goal is to get well and stay well. Normally, when I do these shows, I talk about food, nutrition, and supplements. I'm not talking about that today, am I? I will now. But it's in the foods, but it's really in our environment more so than anything. So why are so many young people getting cancer? According to the latest statistics, global cancer instances are on the rise, especially among younger people. One study was done between 1990 and 2019. Incidence of 29 cancers rose worldwide in people younger than 50, with rates raising highest in women. Cancers on the rise: breast, uterine, prostate, lung, colorectal, pancreatic, and stomach cancers. Between 2016 and 2019, early onset breast cancers went up 3.8% annually, and that's a lot. And now teens are being diagnosed with what they call improbable cancers, previously only seen in older people. It's improbable they have it, but they have it. And you can't ignore these facts, folks. These are stats, and they're real. We're seeing advanced gastrointestinal cancers. And when I first got in practice, very rarely did I ever see somebody who had a piece of their colon removed, or they're using a colostomy bag to go to the bathroom. Now we see it probably once or twice a week. And we're not gastrointestinal doctors. We're pain management doctors, nutritional doctors, chiropractors. We have a medical doctor on staff. So if we're seeing that many, I can't imagine what a gastrointestinal doctor is seeing, because that's all they see. And one of the treatments is remove a piece of the colon and kind of sew the other two pieces together. If it's bad enough, they put a colostomy bag, and basically you defecate into a bag. But why is this happening? And that's the key. Nobody's talking about why. Yes, it's on the increase. Breast cancer is on the increase. Prostate cancer is on the increase. More screening is not going to solve the problem. We can do more. I'm not against tests. More screening is not going to fix the problem. Fixing the problem is going to fix the problem. And that's what we have to start to think about. And it's not just happening in the U.S. Oncologists in China and India have noticed this trend. Statistics from around the world are now clear. The rates of more than a dozen cancers are increasing among young adults. When I say young adults, 50 and younger. So if you're 48, you can still consider yourself young. United States, colorectal cancer typically strikes men in their mid-60s, has become the leading cause of cancer death among men under 50. That shouldn't be happening, folks. In young women, it's become the second leading cause of cancer death. So we're not getting to the cause of the problem. The problem's getting worse, and it's not just diagnosis and testing, it's people dying. And I'm frightened. Number of deaths from early onset cancers has risen by 28% between 1990 and 2019. And that model suggests it's just going to continue going up. And again, you get these tests years earlier. They have to put everything together before they actually release it. So, why is this happening? What are some of the culprits? Now, conventional medicine, unfortunately, is not prepared, I'll try to say this delicately, is not prepared to deal with this dilemma. They are prepared to treat this dilemma, but they're not prepared to deal with the dilemma. It fails to address the cause. When your body fails to make enough cellular energy because the mitochondria are dysfunctioning, that can be a problem. So now we ask the question, and again, I'm a little detective when it comes to healthcare. Why is our mitochondria dysfunctioning? Why is the body malfunctioning? And a lot of it has to do with we're poisoning ourselves with something called linoleic acids, polyunsaturated fats, estrogens, estrogen-like compounds, hormone-disrupting chemicals. So we're messing with the fats in our body and we're messing with the hormones in our body. And the body, if we do this, is unable to maintain beneficial bacteria in our colon. We're killing off our bacteria. If you're eating standardized conventional meat, dairy, what are you getting? Steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, genetically modified food, glyphosate, and that kills off the good bacteria in your colon. 80% of your immune system is in your colon. So we're killing off a good portion of our bacteria because of what we're exposing ourselves to. Then we're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, or fiber. We're eating cooked foods. We're eating processed foods. We have these forever chemicals lining the wrapping paper that we put our tacos in. We take these tacos, which are made with genetically modified corn, high in omega-6 fatty acids, linoleic, polyunsaturated fats, and then we deep fry them in another polyunsaturated fat, a linoleic acid. And when the heat hits it, it makes it crunchy, but that creates carcinogens. And that's a problem. And so when we fry carbohydrates, we create a carcinogenic compound. And that's not good. So French fries, taco shells, taco chips. Hey, I love these stuff, folks. I love it just like you do. Tastes great. It's not bad. The cancer-causing component that's created is called acrylamide. And acrylamide is a known carcinogen. And when you fry carbohydrates in high fat and high temperatures and fat, you're going to create these acrylamides. So chips, French fries, anything, breaded meat, breaded chicken, these acrylamides are getting into our system. And it's getting worse. So if we start to kill off the good bacteria, they're replaced by not so good bacteria, and now the immune system is going to be a problem. So the big problem, I want to talk about this excessive linoleic acid intake and how it can promote cancer. There's an article in the journal Nature. It points out that there being a dietary culprit, the linoleic acids, and the predominance of gastrointestinal cancers and the coincidence with dietary changes in many countries point to rising rates of obesity, and diets rich in processed foods are the likely culprits to contribute to these raising cancer rates. So everybody's afraid to say definitely, but I'm buying it. Okay, I understand what's happening. I read the research. We all got to be careful to say 100%, but you get what I'm saying. Now, the article in Nature does not go into specifics as to what it might be about our modern diets that contribute to cancer, but my research keeps pointing to linoleic acids. There's omega-6 fatty acids found in seed oils, SEED, seed oils. And it's in most processed foods, and I believe that that's the key contributor. So what is a seed oil? Corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, rapini, canola oils, there it is. Canola oils, peanut oil, something called vegetable oil. So my feeling is this. If you go into your pantry right now and you see any one of those oils, the seed oils, throw it away. Don't wait till it's used up. Throw it away. Because you're going to get omega-6 polyunsaturated linoleic acids if you go out to dinner. I'm sure they're using the cheap oils. They're not using extra virgin organic coconut or olive oil or avocado oil. I know that. So you're going to get enough of it in the environment. I don't want you having it in your house. The only oils I want you having in your house are extra virgin organic coconut and extra virgin organic olive. That's it. You don't need any other oil. And if you're making something that calls for vegetable oil that has a mild flavor, use coconut or olive oil. Because I don't want you getting these oils into your diet. Now, there's a lot of experts in bioenergetic medicine, and I consider myself a holistic, wellness practitioner. Chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, cancer are rooted in what's called dysfunctional metabolism resulting from poor energy production, and the polyunsaturated fats appear to be the primary contributing factor in this chain of events. So I'm eating vegetable oils. I'm eating canola oils. I'm eating cottonseed oil, whatever, soybean oil. I put it in my body. My body needs these oils. My body needs oil because your brain is a lot of cholesterol. That's why we say we're all fatheads. We really are. We have a lot of fat in our brain. But the cells in my body have a wall around them, and it's called the lipoprotein layer. Lipo meaning fat, protein meaning protein. And it's a little, I remember drawing these when I was in college. And the lipoprotein layer allows nutrients to pass in, allows hormones to attach to the cell so the hormone can tell the cell what to do, and allows the cell to pass out waste products. If you're eating excessive linoleic acids, the body only has these acids to build a cell wall out of. It doesn't have the good quality fats. And so it builds up these cheap cell walls. And now you can't absorb nutrients and pass out waste products the way you should. The hormones can't attach to the cell the way it's supposed to. And so now the cells are not able to generate electricity. And electricity is generated inside the cell in something called the mitochondria. And so if the mitochondria only has cheap fats and bad sugars to utilize, it's not going to generate the proper amount of energy. And so that cell becomes weak. The cell becomes damaged. You are the cell. So you become weak and damaged. So the bad news for polyunsaturated fats, we're talking about linoleic acids, the bad news just keeps piling on. At this point, it's hardly a chronic condition out there that hasn't been linked to polyunsaturated fats. And the other thing we do with these fats is we heat them. And when we heat them, that's how we get them out of the seeds. So if I were to take, cottonseed oil, I used to have to extract it either with pressure, heat, and chemicals. I changed the molecular structure. Then many times the oils stink because they went rancid. So then we have to deodorize them. And then we heat them so that it stays on the shelf longer. But we change the molecular structure, and that's where the dangers come in. If I eat a soybean, organic soybean, not that big a deal. If I process the oil out of the soybean with heat and solvents, and then I have to deodorize it, and then I have to ship it, and I put it in a plastic container where the plastics can leach into the oils, now I've got a problem. Same thing with corn. If I have organic corn, not that big a deal. If I have non-organic corn that's been sprayed with glyphosate, that's genetically modified, and then I use heat and solvents to extract out the oil to make corn oil and put it in a plastic container, and then I fry it a second time, I heat it up a lot, that's a big issue. So, study published in Antioxidants and Redox Signaling, that's another fun journal I'm sure you have at home, talks about the increased risk of diabetics, what diabetics face in developing several types of cancer, including carcinomas, pancreatic cancer, colorectal cancer, and breast cancer. So these omega-6 fatty acids, these linoleic acids that are in all the fast food, the processed foods, the packaged foods, a lot of home cooking, the way the body works, let me back up. You have a cell, and the cell has a keyhole in it, making it really simple. When you eat sugar, insulin is released from your pancreas, goes into the keyhole, opens it up, and allows glucose into the cell. Glucose is then utilized by the cell in the mitochondria to produce electricity. And when the body needs more sugar, insulin goes into the keyhole, opens it up, and lets more sugar in. Well, these polyunsaturated fats, these linoleic acids, these omega-6 fatty acids, can clog up the keyhole. And when the keyhole gets clogged up, it won't open to allow sugar in. So now the mitochondria doesn't have the fuel it needs to run. The body has all this sugar floating around in the blood. So what does the body do? It releases more insulin to try to force the keyhole open. Well, it doesn't work. So now blood sugar rises. And the cells, we call it now insulin resistance. We have enough insulin, the cells just aren't opening up and letting the sugar in. So we use a metaphor, insulin resistance, meaning the cells aren't, they're resisting the insulin. Well, the insulin can't get into the cell because the keyhole's clogged. Blood sugar goes up. We call it type 2 diabetes. Is it the only cause of type 2 diabetes? No. Is it a major player in type 2 diabetes? Absolutely. So why is the younger generation so sick? That's what we're talking about today. The linoleic acid is linked to several mechanisms promoting cancer, disruption of energy in the cells, hormonal imbalances, increased oxidative stress, which means the cells are like rusting essentially, damage to the mitochondrial membranes. We're doing it to ourselves. It raises your risk of so many different problems: hyperglycemia, hyperlipidemia, a chronic infection, elevated insulin levels, insulin-like growth factor, and these contribute to reductive stress and disrupts the body's balance on how to process energy. So what do we do? It's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. These forever chemicals are in our environment. They're on our packaging. They're on our cash register receipts. Let's think about what we can do to get the body as healthy as we possibly can. There's 3 things that I consider vital, in fact necessary, in order to obtain and maintain good health. You have to have a normally functioning nervous system, a normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. I broke it down really simple for you folks. Normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, good nutrition. So nervous system controls everything. Your brain sends messages along the nerves and tells everything what to do. 2 things can essentially interfere with this. Again, I'm making it really simple for you. Chemical or physical. Chemical interruption with the nervous system is food, drugs, alcohol, environmental toxins, polyunsaturated fats, linoleic acids. Physical is if there's a bone out of place pinching a nerve. That can cause inflammation, and that inflammation can put pressure on a nerve, preventing the proper electrical flow of energy. One symptom you might experience is pain. If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, sciatica, shoulder pain, this is something telling me these are things telling me the nerve is not working properly. So we need to unpinch the nerve. That's what chiropractic care comes in. And then we do a nutrition workup on all our patients to make sure they're getting the right nutrients and not putting the bad stuff in. Most people listen to some of what I say. Some people listen to most of what I say. When it comes to nutrition, it's a journey. It's not a destination. So I teach you step by step how to get there. I may recommend supplements. The minimum supplements I believe everybody should be taking are Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. They taste great. Thousands and thousands of people all across the country are on these products, and they love them. I take a scoop of each, 1 Essential Source, 1 Super Greens, and mix them together. They taste better that way. Shake it up with some coconut milk, ramen milk, and drink it down. That's how I start my day. You should too. Prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin, fruits and vegetables in a powder form, chlorella and spirulina, detoxify the liver, omega-3 fatty acids, iodine. I put it all in one place for you. So they're on the website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. It's in the store section. When you order it, we ship it the next business day, sometimes the same business day. It's a very inexpensive insurance policy. I can't imagine not taking it every day, and I can't imagine why you're not either. So that's one start. If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, come see us. Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We'll check your nervous system. We'll check your digestive system, look at your diet. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for you, my listeners, to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. We accept people with all insurances, but it depends if your insurance covers it or not. It's not up to us. It's up to you. If you have a bad insurance, get a new insurance. Don't blame us. People are, why don't you take my insurance? Your insurance doesn't cover us. It doesn't cover things that actually work in many cases. But anyway, you have cash plans available. It's still the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. But in our office, you get the nutrition and the digestive evaluation as well. So if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. We even have a natural protocol for erectile dysfunction. We use something called acoustic wave therapy to break up scar tissue and increase circulation and grow blood vessels in the area. We get you on supplements. We get you on a home therapy. The results are phenomenal. Not everybody responds, but most people get great results without drugs, without surgery, without injecting yourself. A lot of these clinics can make you inject yourself to get function. And the same thing works for women. If you cough and sneeze and pee yourself, we can do the same protocol for you. So if you're serious about wanting to get well, if you have any questions, book the appointment right through my website, or call us, or send me an email through the website, drjoe.com. Any health question, happy to answer it for you. Make sure you follow me on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day. We post health tips every single day. Now, our Facebook page, Facebook made a mistake, messed up actually, and shut down our business page. They're going to reinstitute it, so hang on for that. It's going to happen soon. So if you look me up and you don't see a business page, it'll be there soon. If you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service, type in Dr. Joe for the health of it, Dr. Joe for the health of it, and we put out at least 2 podcasts a week, sometimes more. And if you're a veteran, if the VA refers you to us, the VA pays for your treatment. So make sure the VA refers you here, and I get VA patients just about every day. So we're talking today about, again, Dr. Joe, drjoe.com. We're talking today about why the young generation is so sick. We talked about forever chemicals. If you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Go to my website, drjoe.com, and you can type in forever chemicals, and you'll see this. We have this show. It's archived. All our shows are archived on our website, drjoe.com. And that's why you want to follow us on social media as well, because you're going to get links to these things as well. The key, if you really want to be one of the cool kids, is sign up for our newsletter. It's on the website. It's absolutely free. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. It's very simple. We send out maybe one every week or two, but it's a lot of good insider information. We save it just for the folks that have the subscriptions with us. Again, it's free. So elevated linoleic acid, we're talking about that. Those omega-6 fatty acids, they destroy the mitochondria. The mitochondria produces energy. They disrupt the body's hormone equilibrium. They imitate the effects of estrogen and cortisol. They counteract male hormones like testosterone. And so you become more feminized, and that becomes an issue. Additionally, they alter the cell interactions with water, so the cells, their fluidity doesn't work as well as they used to. The seed oils, again, corn oil, canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. Again, sunflower seeds are fine if they're organic, but when you extract it out, use chemicals and solvents and heat, and it destroys the nature, the chemical makeup of the oils. Plus, we're adding monosodium glutamate, artificial sweeteners. So many things have artificial sweeteners. Over 6,000 products have artificial sweeteners now. We're adding red dyes to it. We're adding chemicals that we know are toxic. A lot of the foods that you buy in the United States, you can't buy overseas. And the reason is the other countries have realized how toxic they are and said, we're not going to sell this to our people. And yet for some reason, we still sell it here. Fast food is going crazy. How much people are buying fast food now. And it's just junk. If you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, and just type in the search bar, so what can I eat? And I did a whole lecture on what a day looks like. Breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks, having a party, raising kids, Christmas, stocking and unstocking your pantry. And by the way, on our website, you can search whatever you're looking for. We have about 4,000 hours of content. It's absolutely free. I want to be your source of healthcare and information. So if you want to make an appointment to come see us, which you should, drjoe.com. Send me your questions through the website, drjoe.com. If you're looking for something, search the website or send me an email. I'll probably find it for you. And follow me on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. Folks, I'm out of time. I've got so much more to cover. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, drjoe.com. We'll talk to you soon. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. What do you got?
All right. Quick question on artificial sweeteners.
Yes?
Know that they're unhealthy, but what about pure natural stevia and monk fruit?
I'm okay with that.
Easy.
There you go. It's not artificial, and so I'm good with that, yes.
And do you do any kind of cold therapy for mitochondrial biogenesis?
Cold therapy?
Mm-hmm.
You have cold laser. Yeah, we have cold laser, if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, cold laser is great. I use it every day.
I think he's more talking like cold showers.
Oh, cold showers will work
plunges.
too. Yeah, if you take a cold shower, just dunk your head in cold water. I've done that many times. You release something called cold shock protein from your liver, and it goes in and eats up all the free radicals in your body. So yeah, if nothing else, just take a hot shower and just give yourself a quick blast. And think, I mean, at the end of every shower, you can do it, and you don't have to be in there for an hour or two, or even a second or two. Or a couple of seconds is all you need, and that'll release the cold shock protein as well.
That's what I do.
That's what you do?
Yeah.
I'd
like every shower.
That's tough, though. I know. I've done it. Not saying
Wakes
I'm a fan of it. What else?
It's better than a cup of coffee.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you don't need coffee. You do that. What else?
For spring allergies,
Yes.
this person's for a long time used local honey.
Uh-huh.
What are your thoughts on using local honey for allergies? And is there a better way?
Oh, yeah. Local honey, there's not a lot of solid research on that. Yeah, Super Green's an essential source. Are great for stabilizing and bringing down inflammation. Dr. Joe's turmeric, it's on the website, drjoe.com. That works really well as an anti-inflammatory. But the key is not to eat things. You want to stay away from all wheat and all dairy products. When you cut out wheat and dairy products, you take all that stress off your immune system, and it's able to fight off the pollen a lot better. Like, I'll sneeze sometimes, during the spring. And especially in Atlanta, there's so much pollen. We're called a city in the forest. But, yeah, cutting out the wheat and the dairy products is going to make a huge difference in your life. So cut out the wheat and the dairy. Super Green, Essential Source, and turmeric on the website, drjoe.com. That should be a good start point for you.
And what can you talk on perimenopause?
Oh, gosh, how much time you got? Yeah. So Super Green's an essential source. Of course, that's the starting point for everything. Women's hormone support. It's on the website, drjoe.com. Absolutely important. And the same rules apply. You got to clean up your diet. Because at my age, I've known a lot of women through perimenopause and now menopause as I get older. And as soon as you start to clean up your diet, perimenopause is a lot easier to manage. So if you go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in women's health issues, listen to the show we did on women's health issues. It'll give you a lot of good information. What else?
That show is just women's health.
Oh, women's
There's
health?
a part 1 and a part 2. They're about a year and a half, 2 years old, but they were really, really good shows. We did one on men's health as well, but I think the men's health was only one part.
I think it was one part. Yeah, women's was so much. I remember we did that. Garrett and I did it together. Like, I got too much. We got to do part 2, which I usually don't do. So, yeah. All right, what else? That's it. Guys, thank you so much. Make sure you follow me on all platforms. Please do that for me. I'm begging you. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, at Dr. Joe Esposito. Do that as a favor to me.